I am not a medical doctor. The techniques and procedures described in this podcast are not intended to replace professional medical advice or doctor-prescribed medications. If there's any time that you feel that you're alone and you want to hurt yourself, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255. You're not alone. If your compassion does not include yourself, then it is incomplete. Jack Cornfield. Hello again, everybody. It is I, Wayne Tapia, and you're listening to the UpSpin. Simple steps to walk away from depression and anxiety. And today we are going to discuss a little bit about self-care and what that means and what it can do for you. Because a little self-care can go a long way. So let's get started. The term self-care kind of gets thrown around a lot these days, especially in social media. People will talk about, oh, I'm taking a self-care day and self-care this, self-care that. And it might have lost its power as a phrase, possibly, just because it's seen so much and you're just kind of inundated with it. I started off this podcast with a quote, and here's another one from the one and only Buddha. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. And that's true. You're not going to get real far in this life without some kind of self-care or self-love. I've heard it put this way, that not loving yourself is kind of like driving around with the handbrake on. It just makes everything more difficult. And it's true. It's true. From my own personal experience, I know that is true. So let's kind of dive into some things about self-care, what it means, things you can do, and let's get started. For a long time, I would have no vacation time at work. I would have no vacation time saved up because I used it all. The problem was I wasn't going anywhere. So I would make a weekend into a 4-day weekend where I wouldn't leave. I would, do the classic thing of drawing the shades, completely just order in a pizza, whatever, not do anything for 4 solid days, and somehow boost myself up again to go back to work the Monday of the next week. And I did that a lot. I did that a lot more than I probably care to admit to myself. But that's kind of how depression goes sometimes. I'm sure some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. One thing you got to do, and one thing I did once I decided I was not going to be like this anymore, was you got to get up and move. You gotta get outside the house, put a coat on, put a raincoat on, grab an umbrella if it's raining, take a walk. Any kind of physical activity is going to produce endorphins, and that's a chemical in the brain, and they kind of act like a natural antidepressant in a way. Also helps you sleep, which reduces stress, which will reduce depression and anxiety. So it's pretty much a win-win-win situation to just get outside and walk. Maybe there's a good coffee shop down the street from your house. Walk to a coffee shop, get a cup of coffee, walk around the block with it, walk home. It makes you feel better. It gives you a little bit of a sense of accomplishment, at least in your subconscious, that you got up and you went and did something. And then you can tell yourself that, yes, that was a good thing. You did a good thing for yourself. Don't be afraid to pat yourself on the back. One thing about regular exercise, and I've read a couple of studies on this, is that regular aerobic exercise is just as effective as antidepressants in reducing symptoms of mild to moderate depression. All I'm saying is exercise, walking, maybe if it turns into a jog, you are going to feel better. It's going to make you feel better. Made me feel better. Although right now I need to get back out there and get walking some more because the gyms are closed because of this whole quarantine thing. So anyhow, I digress. So, okay, self-care bullet point number 1. You need to move, some exercise, get out and walk. Get out of your own head, get out on the street and walk. We'll move on to bullet point 2 next. Self-care bullet point 2. Take a look around at your house, apartment, whatever your environment is. And if you're feeling down and you're feeling bummed out, just take a quick look around. Is it a mess in there? Have you done laundry? Are you a mess? Take a look at yourself in the mirror. One of those things that can kind of help you out and get you out of depression and definitely out of anxiety is to take care of the environment that you're in. A very cluttered environment, especially if you're an anxious person, that is going to be one of the worst things if it's a very cluttered and messy environment. So do what you can. If it seems to be a little overwhelming, just start small. Start with, if your sink is full of dishes, just do the dishes and then just clean the sink out really well and start there and call it good for then. And then maybe the next day you can clear off your kitchen counters or something like that, and while keeping the sink clean. I'm not telling you to turn into a total neat freak or completely anal retentive about cleanliness or anything, but I will tell you that if your environment goes from cluttered, messy, chaotic, add your own adjective here, to something that is somewhat orderly and clean, and you're not, tripping over things trying to walk through your living room to the hallway, you're going to be a lot less stressed out, and the depression and anxiety is going to drop considerably, at least from that. The next thing you want to take a look at is how you're carrying yourself and how just take a quick look at yourself in the mirror. What are you wearing, first of all? Are you wearing the same sweatpants that you've been wearing since, you took that first day off 3 days ago, and you haven't changed out of them yet, and you got that white t-shirt with the ketchup stain on it from the hamburger you ate 2 days ago? Yeah, time to change. Well, first of all, not even change out of it. You just need to put that stuff in the hamper or throw it away or whatever. Get yourself washed up. Take a nice, leisurely, hot shower. Get yourself nice and clean. Brush your teeth. If you're a man, maybe you need to shave some or, trim your beard if you have a beard. If you're shaving your head like I do, shave your head, get it nice and stubble free. If you're a woman, if you like wearing makeup, if makeup makes you feel confident or pretty about yourself, put a face on, put some makeup on, or do one of those moisturizing masks. Do something, just kind of treat yourself. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. If you don't treat yourself right, nobody else will. Spoil yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not self-indulgent. Self-care is not selfishness. It might be self-indulgent, but it's not selfishness. And that's one of the things that kind of got beat into my head a lot when I was a kid. I would try to do something for myself, and I just would be told that I was being selfish. And I kind of grew up doing a lot of things for other people out of, kindness or whatever. I would sincerely wanted to help other people, but at the same time, never learned how to take care of myself because I was always told that doing anything for myself would be selfish. And unfortunately, through the years, it wasn't just my upbringing. There were a lot of people in my life that kind of kept reinforcing that fact. So don't be afraid to spoil yourself a little bit. If you have the means, go out and buy some new clothes. Or if it's just something simple like taking if you have a bathtub, take a nice, long, luxurious bubble bath with candles and maybe a piece of chocolate and a romance novel or something. I don't know. I don't have a bathtub, so I can't explore that whole situation. All I've got is a shower. So, anyhow, enough of my plumbing supplies. But take care of yourself. Do something nice for yourself. Okay, that was bullet point 2 of the whole self-care. I don't know how many bullet points we're going to go. We'll see how far we go. That was number 2. Number 3 is coming up next. You're listening to the UpSpin.